You know, sometimes the most profound ideas, and let's be honest, the best jokes, are just hidden in plain sight. Today, we're going to unpack a meme that at first glance looks like some high-level math problem, but is actually a pretty brilliant punchline about God. Let's break it down. So here it is. This is the image that got this whole thing started. You look at it, and it just feels like a cryptic message from a math textbook that's gone off the rails. God is sin²θ plus cos²θ. What in the world are we supposed to make of that? And that's the big question, right? Is this just a random bunch of symbols meant to confuse everybody? Or maybe it's some clever piece of religious commentary? Or, I don't know, a secret mathematical formula? This weird mix of theology and trigonometry seems designed to just make you stop and scratch your head. Okay, so to figure this thing out, we have to treat it like a cryptic message. We've got to break the code. So let's start with the part of the puzzle that looks the most complicated. The real heart of this code is buried in these two terms, sin² and cos²θ. Now, if you've ever taken a geometry class, these might ring a bell. If not, don't even worry about it. We're going to make it super clear. These are our main clues.
So let's get into it and decode the math. What exactly are sine and cosine anyway? All right, first up, sine. In a simple right-angled triangle, sine is just a ratio. You take the length of the side that's opposite our angle, we're calling it theta, and you divide it by the length of the hypotenuse, which is always the longest side. Really, you can just think of it as a way to measure how high a point is on a triangle or a circle.
And then you've got cosine, which is basically its partner. It's the same exact idea, but this time it's the length of the side next to the angle divided by the hypotenuse. So if sine measures the how high part, the vertical, then cosine measures the how far across part, the horizontal. They're really just two sides of the same coin. Now, you probably noticed that little 2 floating up there next to sine and cosine. That's not as scary as it looks. It just means squared. So sin²θ is really just a short way of writing sin theta times itself. Same deal for cosine. It's just notation.
So, putting it all together, the message is asking us to take sin²θ and add it to cosine²θ. The big question is, what does all of that equal?
Well, it turns out the answer isn't some crazy, complicated number that changes all the time. Nope, it's a constant. And it's all thanks to this beautiful, fundamental rule in trigonometry that's going to solve our entire puzzle. And here it is. This is the key. It's called the Pythagorean identity. And yeah, it's related to that famous Pythagorean theorem you learned back in school. What it says is actually really elegant. For any angle you could possibly choose, when you square its sine and you add that to its squared cosine, the answer is always the same. The answer is 1. Just 1. Always. That whole complicated-looking expression, sin²θ plus cos²θ, no matter what angle you plug in, it always simplifies down to the number 1. It's just a fundamental truth about how circles and triangles work together. So, now that we've cracked the code, we can take our answer and plug it back into the original phrase. And this is where the math stops, and the punchline begins. Let's put it all together now. The original message was, God is sin² plus cos²θ. But we now know for a fact that sin² plus cos² always equals 1. So that means the statement actually becomes, God is 1. And there it is. That's the divine punchline. God is 1. The whole meme is just a really clever mathematical pun. It uses a fundamental truth from trigonometry to state a fundamental belief in theology. But what makes this so good is that it's more than just a little math trick. It's clever because it uses a mathematical certainty, an absolute, unchangeable truth, to talk about a theological certainty. The statement, God is 1, goes right to the heart of monotheism, to big ideas about divine unity, and even the search for a single absolute truth. It's kind of the perfect meme for theologians and mathematicians. So what we ended up with is a simple image that uses a mathematical constant to express a theological one. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other profound truths are just hiding out there in plain sight, waiting for us to decode them?